Hey guys, Mike here from TVS Pro. We're excited today because we've got a new projector that we're going to take a look at. Right now we're going to do the unboxing of LG's latest home theater projector into the home theater marketplace. This is called their CineBeam AU810PB. We're excited because this is a laser projector. Well, it's a dual laser projector. So it's solid state, meaning long life, not having to worry about maintenance or replacing lamps or those kinds of things, as well as it's a smart projector. So it's a traditional throw projector that would mount on your ceiling at a normal, projection range, but it has all of the smarts built into it. So we'll go ahead and take a look at it. We'll unbox it first, and then we'll do some evaluations and find out the performance. All right, let's take a look. Okay, it looks like a little manual and some little plastic pieces. Batteries, power cord, and remote. And of course the projector. Oh, so right off the bat, it's not a light piece, but that tells me there's something to it. So that's kind of a cool thing. Let's take a look and see what it looks like. All right. Nice clean lines, sharp corners, so be careful. This is a good looking unit. So this is it. Nice and hefty. Looks like inside we've got our cooling fans and vents. I can see it looks like it's probably got some type of liquid cooled or sealed enclosure. I can see the copper pipes and the radiators there to help cool down the lasers, so that's probably where most of the weight is. It's got a couple little speakers here, which we don't really care about generally for home theater. 3 more fans on this side that I can see. So yeah, it looks like it's trying to move some air. Probably multiple fans so that they can move at a lower RPM and keep it quiet. That would be my guess. Again, another speaker on this side. And so it looks like lens control is underneath here. It's got an IR on the front. Looks like an IR on the back. Here it looks like we've got probably our lens shift. Looks like, oh, there's an inside and an outside wheel, so one is probably vertical and the other is probably horizontal lens shift. That's a nice thing. And then we've got 3 HDMI inputs. The third, it looks like, has not only ARC but eARC for enhanced return audio channel. Being the apps are built internally, we need a way to get that high-res audio out and back into our receiver. We've got a 12-volt trigger to drop a screen. We've got an optical connection for audio output if we don't have HDMI for whatever reason. We've got LAN input, a couple USBs, and then of course we've got our power cord, and it looks like a little joystick for probably the menus on the back here. So let's go ahead and take a look. Okay, I want to talk about some of the features that this projector has. One of the features is what LG refers to as the brightness optimizer. Now what the brightness optimizer does is use 2 technologies to improve the brightness and the contrast that is found in the picture. So if we go into the menu, and we go over to the picture settings, and we move down here to brightness optimizer. Now this gives us 2 different modes. Within the brightness, in the iris mode, we have bright room, medium, dark room, and user, which allows you to customize and adjust that iris manually, all the way from 10 down to 0. Now, what the other modes here, whoops, bright mode is obviously going to open that iris up. Medium is going to be somewhere in the middle, and then darkroom I believe equates to about a level 2. And then within user you can even take it down a little bit further. And that simply is just allowing more light to go through the lens. Now the other feature in Brightness Optimizer is this adaptive contrast. And what the adaptive contrast is doing is actually adjusting the laser output based on the content that's found in the image. And so as a brighter scene, it's going to put more light output. As the scene is a darker scene, it's going to take that laser output and kind of bring it down so that it's not putting out as much light output. One of the exciting features of the AU810 is the fact that it has dynamic tone mapping. Now, LG is one of the few projectors to have introduced this automatic dynamic tone mapping. And what that allows you to do is, based on the different movies that you watch, different content, they're mastered in different dynamic ranges. And the auto tone mapping is actually evaluating every frame of video and changing the tone mapping based on that content. So it is, and it does a very good job from what I've seen in the tests that we've done. One of the other features of the AU810 is the Magic Remote. Now, if you're familiar with LG, you may have seen this remote in some of their TVs. And it is a feature that I kind of love and I hate at the same time. For example, when you're using the menu system, it does allow you to move through things fairly quickly, and you can actually, click on things and aim your remote at the TV, and it's pretty accurate in terms of, moving around things. However, at the same time, sometimes I found it kind of annoying when I was trying to open up the menu and click on things, and I really just wanted to use arrows up, down, left, right. Now, the beauty of this remote is they've also provided cursors. So if I do simply want to just navigate using up, down, left, right, enter arrows, I can do that, and I don't have to use the Magic Remote. So I found it useful, and it certainly is something that you have to get used to. If you haven't ever played with one before, it is definitely different. But it can be very advantageous, although at times I think it can be a little annoying. As you notice, I was using the cursors and then it just started popping up. So that's the only complaint and gripe that I have on the remote, but it is actually pretty neat. After having some time to play with the projector, I've now set everything back to factory defaults to show you the different picture modes that it has. In standard dynamic range, it has 10 picture modes, and in high dynamic range, it has 7 picture modes. It comes in standard, which is actually pretty usable out of the box. The color temperature is pretty natural. It has decent amount of brightness, and everything looks pretty good in this mode. Vivid shifts the color a little bit, but definitely provides a vivid image. It's not awful. It's not as bad as some projectors or displays that I've seen, but it is certainly not as accurate in terms of color accuracy, contrast, and color temperature. Cinema, I feel like, is one of the better modes. Certainly out of the box, the cinema mode provides much more realistic color. It's not quite so intense and has very good contrast and shading. Sports, I have not tested on sports yet, but is kind of a bright mode with motion enhancement designed for when you're going to be watching sporting events. Game, of course, is designed for gaming. When you're in the gaming mode, two things happen. One is it has a mode that is going to reduce your latency or your lag time. And the other thing that is built into the projector is referred to as HGIG, and that stands for HDR Gaming Interest Group. And that is a consortium of several manufacturers from the gaming industry, the software side of things, as well as the electronics companies such as LG and several others. And what that does is it optimizes the picture for gaming so that the gaming software manufacturers can help you to see exactly what they want you to see. I would kind of look at it in a little bit in the way that the filmmaker mode allows you to see what the filmmakers want you to see. HDR effect is kind of interesting because it provides a better picture than what I was expecting. Essentially what it's doing is simulating the effect of high dynamic range. And on other displays I've looked at that have similar modes, most of the time they're not really very usable in my opinion. Filmmaker mode. Filmmaker mode is actually a very good mode, gets rid of all of the processing and artificial intelligence, so to speak. So the filmmaker mode is designed with the content creator or the filmmaker in mind. And it's something that Hollywood has worked with some of the electronics manufacturers to come up with this mode that allows you to see it the way that they intended for you to see it. And when you put it in this mode, it allows you to see the same frame rate, it allows you to see the same dynamic range, all of the same things that they wanted you to see, it allows you to see. And the way that it does that is by disabling some of the motion enhancement and some of the other features that are designed to help under certain scenarios with the image, but are not ideal for most movies. The brightest mode is really pretty harsh. As you can see, colors are now nowhere near where they should be for accurate color and image quality, but it is bright. And then the last two modes are Expert Bright Room and Expert Dark Room. And what these are taking advantage of is the iris and the contrast enhancer in order to achieve, obviously, for a bright room and also for a dark room. Okay, in the HDR picture modes, first up is Vivid. That is definitely a little too harsh. I'm sure there's a few adjustments that could be made to improve that, but that is a little harsh for my liking. Standard actually isn't too bad. Of course, I would still go in and turn off some of the motion enhancement. But Cinema Home, Cinema I think is better blacks, but I actually don't love the color there. To be honest, I really like this filmmaker mode. In terms of just out of the box of the modes that it has, I really like the filmmaker mode. Cinema and Cinema Home are also not bad. In fact, here I like Cinema Home better. I think that the skin tones are a little bit nicer. So here you can see that just totally blows out our blacks. Standard is definitely an improvement. Cinema Home is definitely better. And Cinema improves them a little bit, but there's a little bit of a color shift that I'm not super keen on. But between Filmmaker mode and Cinema Home, I think the biggest difference is just it really in the color. And of course, Bright just is going to probably blow it out completely. Yeah, and it's now super green, so not super usable there. Okay, we're going to go ahead and take a look at a 100% white patch so that we can measure that. Okay, so we're getting about 32, 33 foot candles there. We're currently in Cinema. Well, let's go to the brightest. So brightest mode, we're able to get about 102 foot candles. Well, actually about 105, 106, looks like is where it's staying. So that's going to be the brightest that we're going to see. Okay, we're going to take a look here at our ANSI contrast. Again, we don't have a completely black room, so we are getting some reflections off of the wall. But if you've watched our other videos, these are going to be comparable measurements to what we've looked at as well. First, let's double check and see which mode we're in. So let's start out in their brightest mode. And let's turn this off here. Okay, so in the brightest mode, we're getting in the black area about 2 foot candles. And here in the white, we're getting about 99. 99. So, and 2 and 90. Which is common for the center to be brighter. Let's take a look now if we put it in cinema mode. Now we're looking at about 22 foot candles, and let's change the range. And we're able to get about 0.42 foot candles in the black area there. So it's going to move around, but 0.41, well, 0.40 to, oh, there it just dropped to 0.38. Okay, so looks like right around 0.40 is what we're getting. And in the filmmaker mode, about 0.57 there in the black, and looks like about 31 there in the white. This is a scene that we use frequently to look at the scaling capabilities, especially in through here, in the trees, are places that we will notice if the projector is not doing very good scaling from 1080p to 4K. This is 1080p source material. This is from Spears and Munsell, their 1080p Blu-ray. And this seems to be doing a very good job, so I have to say that the scaling in this is really quite good, better than some projectors that I've seen. To wrap things up, let's talk about the pros and cons of the LG AU810PB. I was very pleased with this projector. I was very happy with the overall image straight out of the box, which of course can only be enhanced by taking some time and doing some calibration and some settings to the projector. I feel that it's a very good value projector. For what you're paying, you're really getting a lot of bang for your buck. I also feel that there's some really cool features that the projector has that are a little bit unique from what's out there on the market. You have the auto dynamic tone mapping that's built into it. You have all these picture modes, the dual laser. Now, one of the things, I don't know if I've mentioned it or not, but I'm prone to seeing rainbows with the LP projectors, and that for a long time has been one of my gripes with some DLP projectors. But this projector, because of the dual laser system that they're using, I have not seen lasers in, or I have not seen rainbows in the image. And for me, that's a huge deal, because a lot of the DLP projectors out there, I do see them, even if it's not all the time, if it's got, you know, an RGB color wheel, that helps minimize it for me, but I still can see them. I have not noticed them at all in this projector. The projector has horizontal and vertical lens shift. That's great for a projector in this price range. A lot of projectors don't have that. It has WebOS 5.0, so it has all of your streaming capabilities built into it. It has AirPlay 2. It has mirroring capabilities. This projector is one of the few projectors, if only projector currently, that has eARC supported, so that you can get Dolby Atmos and high-resolution audio sources from those WebOS apps back into your receiver to take advantage of that, or even utilize wireless speakers to do that. It has the WISA, which is a wireless protocol for, you know, good quality high-end speakers to be able to do surround sound audio with the projector and a dongle that you put in there, and without having to have a receiver. That's a cool feature. It has the filmmaker mode. To me, that is a big deal, because right out of the box, it allows you to put it in that mode and really have a nice image and see things the way that they were meant to be seen. The list is not long, and most of these are not major things. It would be awesome if it had a motorized lens, motorized zoom and focus and lens shift, so that we could do anamorphic 2.35:1 and 16:9 without having to manually do anything. But it doesn't, and to be honest, there aren't a lot of projectors in this price point that do, but that is one feature that I think would be nice. I found the focusing to be a little bit tough, and the reason is there's two controls on the lens. You have the zoom, which tends to move very freely, and you have the focus. The focus was very tough to move. There's more friction to it than there is on the zoom. And so as I was trying to focus it, it would be like I would push it, and then all of a sudden I would go too far, and then I'd go too far the other way, and so it took a little bit more time to focus, so it's a little bit tricky that way. I wish it was a little bit easier to focus in that regard, but it's not a major problem. For me, this evaluation of the LG AU810 has been a lot of fun. I've found out a lot of cool things about this projector and have been actually very impressed with what I've found. I'm excited to do some evaluations here in the near future and compare it side by side to some of the other projectors out there on the market. So thanks for watching. We'll have a blog posted shortly that will highlight and show some additional content and some still images on our evaluation of this projector. Again, I'm Mike from TVS Pro. Thanks for watching.